Namaste. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Top Tarot Minors. And today I'm going to share with you some thoughts on the Six of Cups. And I really want to incorporate a full range of interpretations here and get you to really think about this card and what it means or could mean for you in a reading. I have continued to study the tarot for a long time, and my great joy and pleasure is when I find connections of the web coming together. And when I created Tarot Foundations too, that was a vision that I had, was that in this course I could really start to bring together pieces to help make more sense of the Waite-Smith inspired decks that tend to take things quite literally. And so today I want to offer quite a few, anyway, I'm just going to get into it. If you're new, my name is Sadhana. Hi, welcome to this chat. This series is, so we're in the Suit of Cups, sixth card. So this is the 20th episode, should be thereabouts. And I will be carrying on for all 56 minor arcana. And the pace will slow down a little bit as I go back to my regular work this fall, but we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to start with Baccara Wintner. And you may know this deck here. This is the Way Home Tarot. And I think you could interpret, just look at this card. It's kind of pretty. There are some dandelions, maybe. There is a garland, a head garland, maybe made from daisies, something daisy chain that you used to do as a child in the grass. And then if you look a little more closely, you may notice martini glasses. You might see any number of things in this card. And I think it's a really sort of bittersweet take on the Six of Cups, while I do love the pink. Baccara Wintner writes in WTF is Tarot, bouts of nostalgia and sentimentality often accompany the sweet energy of the Six of Cups, specifically correlating to childhood. This card brings up matters of home, family, and where we came from. While the six cards are thought to display a harmonious implementation of the suit's characteristics, I grew up in a chaotic shit show, and the weepy, affectionate feeling of this card is lost on me. The only through line of this card, in my experience, is that it asks to look back. What hindsight reveals is as different, as varied as there are people's pasts. It is not uncommon for the Six of Cups to speak to family karma, shadow inheritance, and ancestral baggage. Either way, there is something to gain by reflecting on the past. Whether it is a smell that brings you back to your grandmother's kitchen, feeling comforted by moments in your youth, or facing unresolved issues, the Six of Cups is an invitation to remember. And that's from her book, WTF is Tarot. And I think this is a great segue to the Marielle Tarot, which is Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel here is, there's angels in the sixes in these cards. And let's not make it Archangel Uriel. Let's just make it a figure that is emerging from the water. These claws are reminiscent of the moon card, so it could very well bring in a correlation to the crustacean that's in the moon card, Journey Through Water. So this is kind of a deep card, and we are emerging from the depths. I think personally, towards Scorpio season of this card, Golden Dawn wise speaking, this is a middle decan of Scorpio, which is a really tricky energy where we dive into some pretty emotional stuff. It can feel extremely murky, but the invitation here is to do the work, to have a really good look and dive into the bottom of the pool, to see what is lingering there. There's a tremendous courageousness, I think, that is sparked by Mars as a ruler of that planet. I tend to read the tarot with classical planets, 7 planets. And so we have this martial energy, and yet, both decanically speaking, this is a solar decan, and it's also a solar Sephira. So we have this double solar energy in this really tricky sign. And I feel like it's asking us to, to find our light, to find our sun, to find our purpose, our meaning, it really wants us to look boldly and bravely. And if you have never had the courage to dive to the bottom of the pond, maybe you dive with your eyes closed and you don't know what you're going to pick up off the bottom, but my goodness, it's such a brave, asking so much of us, right? So what does this have to do with a card such as this one in the slow tarot, or something very sentimental? Here we have an elder fairy watching all the little fae playing in the water. This is not even Scorpio season. This is a season of summer in this deck. I think what we're looking at here is an interaction of generations, and the reminder that our emotional mindset, our emotional state of being, the difficult stuff that we journey through is not just ours. It comes through ancestral family karma and stuff. And it is so important to look at. And this deck is just so full of, this is the what's that book called? Where's Waldo? Of tarot decks. There is so much hidden in these cards. And in a way, I'm kind of glad that the creator didn't write an extended guidebook. It's just really fun to find things. And that little elephant in the room, that elephant at the forefront, you could take that to so many levels in this card. And all these beautiful flowers, they're in the foreground and they're hiding something. And then we see this young boy and girl, and then we see perhaps an old multi-generational home in the background. Maybe it's still in great shape, maybe it's not. But there are so many layers to this card. And we catch glimpses, maybe looking back, maybe there's a fond memory, and that might be something really on the surface that comes to mind. But maybe that fond memory that this card triggers is meant to take us deeper, to heal something that we haven't been looking at. An elephant never forgets. And I think there's a treasure in this card. And if we don't forget this, and it may not be Scorpio for you, but I really feel like there's a real invitation to do the work of the cup suit here, the water suit. the most difficult suit of the tarot. And when I look at the intergenerational stuff that's going on in this particular card, I wonder if that elder fae is praying for the youngsters to do it differently, to look closely. And not every time this card comes up is there going to be something heavy that arises. But I think we forget about that. We forget about the possibilities of this card being highly transformational. What is it that's capturing that? What is it about that nostalgia that is so much more than that we are ready to grow through? And sometimes I think when it's a sweet memory, it's easier to journey back and go down to the bottom of the pond and have a really good look at something I may have missed in the past. This card, this is the Lily White Tarot, has been one of my favorites. I mean, since the first time I cracked this deck open, I just love the nesting cups and how it's all connected. The intergenerational connections of our water journey. Water flows through everything. And our stuff is our children's stuff. It's our grandmother's stuff. It's so deeply interwoven. And we have an opportunity to put it into a container. I'm not sure where I want to go with this, but there's something about the examination of the free flow of water and what happens when we hold it in a container and have a look at it. And in this card, we have all these nesting cups, and these little tiny flowers are growing in the center cup. I just think there's so many wonderful possibilities of healing in this card. So let's always remember those deep connections. Hi, Kristen. I pulled out a few other cards. This is the Gaian Tarot. I have the Llewellyn version, the older version of this deck. And there's a few cards in the Llewellyn that really get me. It's not not the Llewellyn, the Gaian Tarot. And this is one, and I want to just keep this version of the card really light, and that is a remembrance to play and to know that vital life force within that makes us feel so happy and present and here. And I mentioned this double solar energy in this difficult sign. Well, this is a double, there's sun everywhere in this card. And it can also help to dry up the water a little bit. So if you've been journeying from if you're in this, deep in this 5, 6, 7 of Cups journey, this pause in the middle is really beautiful. And it can get us to be grateful for all that we have been through and all that we have done. And so when we read the tarot, there's so many paths and layers and little chords that connect different things. And when I read and I think of the tarot, it's like simultaneously I'm aware of many of them, and trying to see through that web to know exactly what to say to the querent in that moment. And it's almost like those joined hands in that card are those threads of connection. And it's so beautiful. And you have the harbor seal here. and maybe they're all naked and they're just free. They're just free. And maybe this journey, diving deep into the lake, the pond, the ocean, the puddle, whatever you're diving into, it's usually quite muddy and down at the bottom, and you can't see everything very well down at the bottom. But there is so much healing that can come from that dive. So be brave in this card, and have a really good look at any sort of sentimental stuff that's coming to the surface. And this is a beautiful healing deck. This is called the Low Rider Dachshund Tarot by Melissa Wotherspoon. And there's a bunch of cards in this deck that really, kind of tug at my heartstrings. And when I go back to my own childhood and think about, drinking out of garden hoses and summer play and things like that, there's a whole bunch of mixed emotions. And so now I'm sort of coming back to this card, after years and years of study, and saying, okay, this nostalgia, this reflection is powerful medicine. So let's kind of look at it in that way, look at the surrounding cards and go, what do I need to heal in this memory? And the sixes are a safe space in the tarot. They're a safe space to heal. They are a place of beauty and tranquility and peace and all those, it's like you're protected in the sixes to do the deep work. And that is through a connection of a heart chakra connection with sixes, as well as that central sephira of the tree of life, as well as its numerological connection. So my top 6 of Cups cards for today. For sure, I'm going to have the Gaian and the Lily White. Those two are pretty special cards. And let me back out just a little bit, and I'll figure out what I'm going to put on the table for the other 3. I think the Marielle, and it's funny, I went through the top tarot trumps, and I'm doing a tally. Some of the cards I had 10, 11 cards, others not so many, but I'm doing a tally of just the top 5 cards for each of the top tarot trumps, and I'm going to do that for each of the top tarot minors as well. And then at the end, I'm going to do a video of the top 5 or top 10 decks that got in on the top 10. And the Marielle, I'm just reminded how potent and juicy this deck is, and just love having it at my side all the time. Okay, so two more. I kind of feel like the Victorian Fairy and the Lowrider Dachshund capture something similar, for me anyway. And so I'm going to go with that one. And then I'm going to pick the Slow Tarot just for its perspective. This idea of what we see up close, and then if we look a little more carefully, what we see in the mid ground and then the deep in the background. And I'm thinking about dreams and memories and how sometimes we don't look at all the layers or get deep into the periphery of the vision. So I think this is a good card. Top 5. Six of Cup cards, left to right. Slow Tarot. Guyan Tarot. Lily White. Marielle. And the foreground is the Lowrider Dashin Tarot. So thanks. And I will be back tomorrow with the Seven of Cups, and I will be posting my revised schedule for now it's back to school. I've got to, I won't be broadcasting quite as frequently, but I will let you know. And also a reminder that tomorrow is the last day to use my coupon for back to school for tarot courses, and I want to thank those of you that have already registered. And it's been such a pleasure to hear your stories, and I love connecting with you. And know that even though many of my tarot courses are pre-recorded, that I'm here and I'm deeply involved in your comments and the way that you connect with me. This is not just me, at arm's length. There's plenty of opportunity to receive personal feedback along the way. All right, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see some of you in the Tarot Avatar series. Namaste.